Greetings, my fellow gamers! It is I, Wraith King, bringing you news from beyond the mirror from the other world. And today it's good news coming from beyond the mirror from the other world. Today we are, yeah, that's a mouthful, probably shouldn't have said that. Today we are talking about the Crusaders. They recently had a revamp, and I have to say I'm pretty pleased with it, but at the same time, I mean, Seg is the one I'm incredibly happy to share with you guys and gals.
Madness has no end.
He is all around great now. He's just solid great. First, I'm going to talk about his passive because that is what made me incredibly happy. What Seg does now is he protects all allies from being stunned for 6 turns. That's what he did last time. But this is what's new. He increases critical rate of all allies by 30%, and additionally, he decreases the skill CD by 10 seconds for all allies for each basic attack. This effect also applies to counterattacks and speed attacks, which means, now what does this mean, my fellow gamers? It means that they listened to my angry rant.
Are you kidding me? This nerf is insane! Fine, I'll throw my Note 7 to show my anger!
Not only my angry rant, but many other YouTubers and many other players of Seven Knights were really furious that he was just so weak. Like, just the fact that he could only protect allies for from being stunned for 6 turns, and then that's it, and then he had this little buff that allowed him to be good in Castle Rush. That was infuriating. Like, everyone was furious about that because he was barely even an Awakening character. Because Awakening characters are supposed to be awesome. They're supposed to be all around great. And when they added this, that means they listen to everybody. They listen to me, they listen to you guys, they listen to all of us. And this isn't a bad nerf either, a bad buff rather, because I know some people are probably still looking at the Castle Rush thing. Oh, why is this still here? Why didn't they just get rid of that and just make him flat out good? Well, I think they still wanted people to, you know, use all of their characters. And I think that was one of the things that was missing from this character list. Like, every character was good, but very few people used them because after other Awakening characters were released, they seemed a little obsolete and nobody used them as much. And these kinds of buffs, like the in Castle Rush mode, in Raid, and in Arena, those kind of buffs make everybody use as many Awakening characters as they can. Now, as for the rest of his skills, everything seems to be pretty much the same, but I think Unleash might be a little bit stronger. I don't think that critical rate thing was there before. But now this is what really got my attention here with Seg. Is, of course, it still inflicts 1000% physical damage, his Awakening skill. And it does target one enemy and ignores the enemy's defense and applies a critical hit. But now this is what wasn't there before. It increases the basic attack damage of all allies by 60% for 4 turns. Now, it didn't do that before. It just, if you weren't in Castle Rush, it didn't do anything besides deal 1000% physical damage to one enemy and imply a critical hit. That's all it did. It didn't increase any basic attack damage of all allies at all. So what they did here with Seg is they made him a lot more universal, so you can use him in multiple places, and that's what we asked for. That's what all of us asked for. We wanted him to be used in multiple places, and the developers listened to us. They're like, yeah, this is a pretty bad nerf here, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make Seg a little more universal. And they did, and I'm really pleased with that. But at the same time, the rest of the characters is what's really bothering me here. They did update them a little bit, but at the same time, not really. Now, before I show you gals and guys what exactly her Awakening skill does now, I would like to show you what it used to do. Demon Unleash used to absorb and utilize demonic power in combat for 4 turns. Additionally, active skills are powered up. In raid mode only, increases critical damage by 200%. Now, of course, this is horrible, but she works pretty good in raid nonetheless, but this still wasn't a very good nerf, and a lot of people were disappointed with it. But let's see what it does now. What Demon Unleashed does now is it still absorbs and utilizes demonic power in combat for 4 turns. Active skills are powered up. Now here's the new thing, everything else is the same. Increases critical damage by 100%. Now this applies everywhere now, which is great, but at the same time, there is one thing about her that I'm still incredibly disappointed with, and I feel like no one listened at all. Nobody listened. You know what? I take that back. Plenty of people listened. Let me show you. She still has the same boring void shield that's only immune to magic damage for 4 turns, and her first active is still the same too. So this update kind of affected Seg the most. Everyone else kind of remained the same. Let me show you what I'm talking about though. Nothing has really changed with Yuri. I mean, not even her awakening skill was changed. Everything remained the same, even though everybody was disappointed with her too. They just seemed to ignore everything else we talked about in our last video concerning Seg and the awakening characters on the Crusaders list. But they seem to notice Segs though. They definitely seem to notice Segs, but and they seem to notice a little bit of Shane too, but everyone else just didn't seem to get nerfed. I mean, not nerfed, but buffed. Everyone else seems to be the same, especially Nia. I mean, she was slightly buffed, but I'm going to get to her in a minute. Right now, we're going to take a look at the prettiest character on this character list, Espada. Also one of my favorite characters in the game in general. I really was hoping that they would listen to what I said about her concerning the fact that she's only good against one raid boss. I find that a little ridiculous. And I still do, please don't get me wrong, developers, if you're watching this, I still love your game and I love everything you gals and guys are doing up there. But I really wish that you made her good against every world boss, not just the demon guy, because the truth is, all of these characters are really, really great. And I get the fact that you guys are trying to get everybody to use all of your awakening characters, because in the Korean version it did suffer the problem to where when an awakening character was released, after a few more were released, the older ones started to lose popularity and not a lot of people use them anymore. So I understand that you're giving each of these characters unique perks, but at the same time I feel like Espada, you should have at least given her the ability to be good against every world boss, not just the one. So she would be just all out good in that particular mode, because it takes like what, a week or so, or like 3 days before you have to fight another awakening, oh, another, not an awakening character, another raid boss, excuse me. And that's just a long time to wait just to use Espada, and I just don't feel like that's a good idea, in all honesty. And how many raid bosses out there? They're like world bosses. They're like 3. So how long do you have to wait before you actually get a chance to use Espada? You see what I'm saying? So I think she should be good against all raid bosses, not just the one. But as far as her other skills, not much has changed at all. So as I said, they seem to listen to what we said about Seg and Shane, but it seems like everyone else is just like, who cares about them? Let's just focus on the fan faves. Now, as for her other abilities, literally just nothing has changed at all. There's nothing. Like, there's really just no reason I should even go over Espada right now, because nothing has changed at all, and that's really, really just bugging me. The only reason I'm talking about this is to tell you guys and gals out there, including the developers, that I feel like the global version is slightly going down a little bit, and it's making me feel a little nervous. I want this game to last forever. Really, I do, because I love Seven Knights. But every time they come out with characters that are kind of just shooting down the originals, it just makes the game feel like less interesting. And most of the players that play Seven Knights, the global one, played the Korean version. That's where they got most of their players from the start. Because when you just started playing that game, let me tell you guys a story. I just mentioned in the comments that, man, I feel really powerless, and everybody started saying, yeah, I totally agree. Like, everybody, just a ton of people were just agreeing with me that they feel powerless. What do I mean by that? Because in the Korean version, everybody grinded for so long, earned so many awakening characters, earned so much gold, and when you started out with nothing, everybody just felt powerless. That's what I meant by that. And when I noticed that, it meant that a lot of players from the Korean version were playing the global version, and most of your players are from the Korean version. And when you nerf characters like this, it makes those players stick with the Korean version. It just makes them go away from the global version. And I don't want that to happen. I really do like the global version. I actually was expecting this one to be even better than the Korean version because it's global. When you have a global game, it means everybody's playing it. It's going to be better than the version that was in the original country where the game came from. So it just doesn't make any sense that these characters that they're coming out with are so nerfed, and they just seem like you're barely anybody's going to use them. The only real characters that they seem to be doing good with is their original characters, you know, like Callahan and Miho. And I'm pretty sure they're coming out with more. I've been talking with a friend. He has an idea for another character list, and I'm pretty sure that one's going to come out a little bit later. But going back on the subject, I think Nia was probably the most disappointing. But at the same time, you know, she still is pretty good. I mean, they did give her the immune to debuffs for 3 turns here, and originally that only applied to adventure mode, and I believe it was only 2 turns then. But I don't think that applies to the entire team though, so it's nothing special, nothing interesting. It's just blah, it's just there. I really don't like the fact that that's so plain. I really don't. It's just, I mean, it does provide a 5-target AoE immunity. No, it's not an immunity, is it? It reduces the damage from 5-target AoE attacks by 50% for all allies. Sorry, I read that wrong, but yeah, nothing much has changed there besides those 2 things, the immunity to debuffs and the 5-target AoE thing. But yeah, other than that, still seems pretty much the same. It still doesn't feel like I should use her. It really doesn't. As much as I really like Nia, her original character was amazing in the Korean version. I don't understand why they didn't just make her that. Either that or make her specialized in arena instead of the adventure thing, because it just doesn't make any sense. Every character is great in adventure. You just have to build the right items. Just grind long enough, level up enough, get 6-star heroes, get awakened characters, then you're pretty much set on adventure mode. You don't need to worry about anything else. So I don't understand why they have to make a specific character for adventure mode. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Mirage Swords stayed the same. Now, I think Rocket Smasher changed. What this does now is it increases the enemy's skill CD. Finally it increases skill CD. That's what it did in the Korean version. Now, now what this does is it pierces in adventure mode. Only in adventure mode. That's changed. That's another change. But as for her awakening skill, one thing changed, and it just straight up pierces now. It does that everywhere. Now, they listen to what we said about they should be a little more universal, and that's what they tried to do here. But at the same time, 120% magic damage, piercing to all enemies isn't very much, especially if you're dealing with a team that is immune to just straight up piercing attacks like that. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't. So, having a 120% magic damage piercing is kind of silly, honestly. I hate to say that. Please don't get me wrong, developers. Again, I love your game. I really do. But I really was hoping that you would make a little more, just a little more power. Give her a little more power with her awakening ability. Because it doesn't make any sense that it does so little and pierces and disrupts formation. That's pretty much what it does. It just changes everybody's formation and pierces and does 120% damage. There will be characters in the future that do more than 120% magic damage and pierce and debuff. That's what the future will be. And that's not even an awakening skill I was talking about there. So that kind of just tells you that Nia just isn't a very good character. I really was hoping that they would make her a lot better than that. I really was, but you know, again, I'm pretty happy with everything that the developers have done with this game. I really do appreciate everything that they have come out with. I've been really excited about every update, and I'm really excited about this one too. That's why I'm so happy to share this with you guys and make a reaction video to it, because SEG really surprised me. I didn't expect the developers to care at all about what the community was saying about their characters being nerfed. And this tells you that they kind of do care. They are listening to us. They want to make sure that we're happy with their characters. But I still really hope that they listen to me concerning Nia, because Nia is a huge fan favorite. Not just Seg. It wasn't just Seg, it was Nia too. I really was hoping that they would make Nia just a little bit stronger, but that's okay. That's alright. I'm still really happy with everything they've done so far, and I hope they come out with more characters in the future, and hopefully they don't nerf them. Hopefully they don't nerf them. I can't wait for them regardless, so I can't wait at all. It's gonna be awesome. But anyways, that's all the time I have left, my fellow gamers. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be making plenty more reaction videos from now on, because I feel like making my normal old 7 Nights reviews, they're just not doing well enough. So I want to make something new. I want to make more reaction videos rather than just making reviews, because reviews just sound boring. 7 Nights review, 7 Nights reaction sounds better to me. But anyways, that's all the time I got. Take it easy for me, alright? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.